begins with a very small shift. Instead of immediately reacting, you pause even just for a second, and in that pause, you create space between what happens and how you respond. And in that space, something becomes possible. You begin to see more than one perspective, more than one outcome, more than one way forward. Because when the mind is caught in emotion, everything feels fixed. But when there is clarity, you start to see movement again. And this changes how you experience challenges. And difficulty may still be there, but they no longer define everything. They become part of a larger picture, something you can go through rather than trapped in. And this is where a deeper kind of confidence appears. Not confidence that everything will go your way, but confidence that whatever happens, it is not final. It can change, it will change, and because of that, you no longer collapse so easily. You don't lose yourself in every situation. You stay present, you stay grounded, and from that place, you can act more wisely, not driven by fear, not driven by panic, but guided by understanding. Okay, let's continue sharing the book. The world is a the world is a reflection of the mind. Therefore, the tragedy of a person lies not in what they encounter, but in their wrong attitude towards life. When we can choose our destiny, we can still choose our attitude towards life. Just as in the novel Desert Rights, Lao Shen often said, I'll take whatever heaven doles out to me. If it can give it, I can take it. The ability to give lies with heaven, the dignity to ensure lies with me. I'm sharing the book, The World is a Reflection of the Mind. And this is where everything gently comes together because life does not always give us choices. There are situations we can avoid, there are changes we cannot control, and there are moments that arrive without asking for our permission. And even in all of that, there is still something that remains open. And that is how we meet what comes, not as an idea, but as a living response in each moment. Because attitude is not just a way of thinking, it is a way of being. It shapes how we experience everything. The same situation can feel like a burden, or it can become something we move through with dignity. And dignity here is not about pride, it is not about pretending to be strong. It is something quieter, a kind of steadiness, kind of willingness to face what is here without collapsing and without running away. And strangely, when that attitude is there, life feels less heavy. Not because problems disappear, but because resistance softens. And when resistance softens, something else becomes possible. You begin to move with life instead of fighting against it, and that movement is not passive, it is deeply alive. It carries a kind of quiet strength. So perhaps what matters is not whether everything turns out the way we want, but whether we remain whole in the process of living. And that is something no circumstances can take away. Hi, welcome. Very happy to see new friends here. Please subscribe to our channel. And what I'm sharing now is The World is a Reflection of the Mind by Mr. Xuemo. So this book is available on Amazon and our online shop, shop.xuemo.com, and Xuemo as Xuemo, Xuemo. Amusingly, when you embrace life with a novel attitude, calmly accepting everything that fate brings, even the things most people are unwilling to accept, you will discover that no matter how significant those matters may seem, they are merely memories. Both the matters themselves and painful, disheartening emotions will ultimately fade away. They are not permanent. Again, we are sharing the book The World is a Reflection of the Mind by Xuemo. So, when this understanding becomes more natural, you may notice a quiet shift in how you relate to life. Things still happen, situations still unfold, but something inside you is no longer so easily shaken. Not because you are controlling your emotions, but because you see through them more clarity, more clearly, and you see how they arise, how they intensify, and how they eventually dissolve. And once you truly see this process, something relaxes, deepens. You no longer treat every feeling as something permanent, and you no longer believe that this moment defines your whole life. And this brings a kind of lightness, a kind of emotional freedom, because now, even when something painful appears, you know it will not stay forever. And even when something beautiful arises, you can appreciate it more fully without trying to hold it, without fearing its end. So life becomes more fluid, more open, more at ease. And perhaps this is what true acceptance feels like, not resignation, not giving up, but a quiet understanding that everything comes and everything goes. And in the middle of that flow, you remain present, aware, and alive. So maybe tonight, just notice what comes and goes and see if you can stay with it without holding on to. And let's continue share the next chapter of The World is a Reflection of the Mind. The chapter is Life is constant battle with the ego. So in my novel, Legendary Wolf of Xixia, I've portrayed a woman named White Robe who almost lost herself as a ghostly existence. Why was she on the brink of dissolution? You may ask. It's because most people didn't believe in the existence of the soul. And this constant doubt eroded her, leading her to question her own existence. However, she found redemption when the black singer appeared. This scenario also occurs within our inner world. Enslaved by desires, we continually erode our souls with a utilitarian mindset, neglecting those yearnings within us that lean towards divinity. We fail to recognize that relative immortality is only attainable through such yearnings, yet we keep seeking eternity in the illusory and ever-changing external world. This ignorance continuously diminishes our ability to seek happiness. Fortunately, the true mind always quietly resides in that elusive place within our heart. It is timeless, unborn, and indestructible. It cannot be dissolved by misunderstandings or extinguished by ignorance. As the Diamond Sutra states, it neither comes nor goes. Hence, it is called Tatha, Tathagata. That Tathagata is the true mind. So, before we go further, let's slow down just a little bit because this chapter is not just something to understand, it is something you can actually feel. When we hear the phrase a battle with the ego, it may sound a battle with the ego. It may sound intense, almost dramatic, but in reality, the battle is happening every day, quietly, and in very ordinary moments. For example, when you start to express something honestly, but you hesitate because you are afraid of how others might see you, or when you know what feels right inside, but you still choose something else. That quiet tension is already part of this battle. So when we hear the story of someone slowly losing herself, it may not be as distant as it seems. Because in a very subtle way, we also lose ourselves, little by little, not suddenly, but gradually. Each time we ignore what feels true inside, each time we follow only what is useful, only what is safe, only what is accepted by others, something becomes weaker. And over time, we may begin to question ourselves, not loudly, but quietly. Is this really who I am? And when that question appears, it is actually very important because it means something inside you is still awake, still searching, still not fully convinced by the surface of things. And this is where the possibility of returning begins. Not by rejecting the world, but by not by escaping from life, but by slowly reconnecting with what feels true within you. And this is also why the idea of the true mind is so important here. Because no matter how much confusion appears, no matter how much doubt arises, there is always something that is not touched by it. Something that does not disappear just because it is ignored, or maybe what we are really doing here is not learning something new, but remembering something we have always had. Okay, although the true mind is naturally present within us, many fail to recognize it. When we are unaware of the true mind, the deluded mind may lead us astray and we fall back into the realm of ordinary beings. Sometimes the true mind and the deluded mind engage in relentless battles. When they fight, it seems as though we become two different persons and our personality starts to split. We find ourselves locked in a perpetual struggle with an alternate self. So if we look at this closely, we may realize something very familiar. This battle is not something rare, it is something we experience almost every day. For example, there is a part of you that wants to stay calm, but another part gets triggered easily. Hi, welcome our new friend here. Please subscribe to our channel. You can leave your message here. Anything you want to talk about. So it is one part wants to be kind, while another part wants to define, def, defend, to argue, and also want to prove something. In those moments, it really feels like there are two shelves inside, one that sees clearly and one that reacts automatically, one that wants freedom and one that keeps holding on. And the more we resist it, the stronger the conflict becomes. Because now we not only we are reacting to the situation, we are also reacting to ourselves. We judge our own thoughts, we fight our own emotions, we try to push away parts of ourselves, and this creates a deeper tension. So, what if instead of fighting this one, the other self, we begin to observe it, not trying to fix it immediately, not trying to eliminate it, but simply noticing. When anger arises, notice it. When fear appears, notice it. And when the mind starts telling stories, notice that too, and something very interesting happens. The moment you truly see it, you are no longer completely inside it. There is a small distance, a small space, and in that space, the battle begins to soften because now you are not just the reaction, you are also the awareness. That sees the reaction, and that awareness does not fight, it does not split, it simply sees. And in that seeing, something begins to come back together, not by force, but naturally. So, have you ever found these two selves inside you, and which one you usually choose? So, the concept of split personality was once portrayed in a Western cartoon. It depicted the true mind as an angel, and the deluded mind as the demon. When triggered by external stimuli, a battle breaks out between the two forces, spiraling beyond control. This metaphor is quite accurate. In Buddhist teachings, the term subduing demons is adopted, but these demons are neither personified nor animalized. Instead, they represent the delusive thoughts that bewitch the mind. Delusive thoughts reflect our desires and biases, representing the anim- animalistic side within us. They create deceptive illusions and act as blindfolds, preventing us from perceiving the truth of reality. They often whisper in our ears, disturbing our peace and hindering us from listening to the voice of the true mind, especially when we have not yet recognized it. So I'm sharing the book, The World is a Reflection of the Mind, and by Xuemo. And this book is available on Amazon. And you can search for Xuemo as Xuemo, Xuemo on Amazon. You can find this book, The World is a Reflection of the Mind. And this is one of our spiritual yoga series. Master your mind and master your destiny. So, what I've been reading, and it shows an image of an angel and demon may seem like a simple metaphor, but if you look closely, it describes this, something very real. Because these voices are not coming from outside, they arise within us. And sometimes they are so convincing that we don't even question them. For example, a simple situation happens and immediately a thought appears. They don't respect me. And then another thought follows. I need to respond. And before you know it, your mood has already changed. Your body reacts and your tone changes. And all of this starts from a single thought. This is how powerful these inner voices are. They don't shout, they whisper very subtly, very quickly. And if we are not aware, we follow them automatically. So the demons are not something mysterious. They are patterns, habits of thinking, conditioned reactions built over time. And the more we believe them, the stronger they become. Not because they are powerful by nature, but because we keep feeding them attention. So the question is not how do I fight these thoughts, but fighting them often makes them stronger. And the real question is, can I see them clearly without immediately following them? And that changes everything. And because the moment you see a thought as a thought, it loses some of its power and it is no longer the truth. It is just something passing through. And in that moment, you can choose not from reaction, but from awareness. And that is the beginning of real freedom. Hi, hello, welcome. All the new friends here, please subscribe to our channel. And after everything we have shared today, and we can see that nothing needs to be added. No more ideas, no more explanations, just a quiet moment to notice what is already here. The thoughts that come and go, the emotions that rise and fall, the subtle voice within that is always present, even when everything else is changing. And maybe you don't need to solve your whole life tonight. You don't need to figure everything out. Just being here with one moment of awareness. So, one small pause, one gentle sing, because sometimes that is already enough. And already enough to change the direction of everything. So thank you for being here with me today. If this resonates with you, you can explore more of Xuemo's books, either on Amazon or on shop.xuemo.com. And maybe we don't need to rush to the next answer. Just stay with this moment and see what quietly unfolds.